Can't think we're live. We're not. Should be live. Come on. Yeah, we're live. Alright, so while I wait for Radical to show up, let's see. Where do I want to go? Let's go finish Flashpoint. Oh, neck. My neck popped. Hey there. Oh, let's see. Dang it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Anytime now. Deposit. And oof. Alright. The flashpoint is done for the week. Go turn it in. Come on. I did tell you to shut down. Oh boy. Alright. Just gotta turn this in and I'll be set. God. There's the times when I got exotics every week. Let's see. Let's take a look. Take a look. It's in a book. Killing Rainbow. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's see. Destination. Let's do some Crucible. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-da-da. Let's pop that in and good and good. Check on King's Raid while watch. One of these days I'll figure out how to capture that, put it on stream. Come on, damn it. Hello. Alright. Playing a little Density 2. Yeah. Well, I got a nice new desktop to play it on. Yeah. Kind of like the way it feels to play on the PC. Unfortunately, I don't have all the cool guns I had on the PS4. Although I like these power surge bounties that they got right now, where get you up to 640, but a lot of gear's like blue, so take it or leave it. So, what should we talk about? Because it's been a while since we streamed. Well, streaming's dead. So I use a stream on, that is. Apparently the founders of the founders... Weird, let's see. Let me listen to my voice, let's see. Go ahead and speak. Yeah, I don't hear you. That's weird. Yes. I don't know what's going on there. Shit. Not sure why I can't read not being heard on the stream. Because that makes no sense. Ah. Dang it. Huh. Are you still there? I'm not sure why you're not being picked up. Maybe after this Crucible match, I'll try to figure it out. Because I'm playing Mayhem. I don't even know why they don't keep that in the rotation. Let me see. Let me... Ah, shit. Alright. So after this, I'll try and figure out why you're not being picked up. Alright, so... Alright, so... Maybe leave the channel and come back in. Because I think that... Yeah. Okay, I'm going to mute the stream and see if I pick you up. So I get the right window. Alright, go ahead and try. Ah, come on. Still doing it. Let's see. Well, for some reason, it's not picking desktop audio up. That could be why. I swear I tested this earlier. Yeah. No, that's got the sound, because... Alright, let's see. Find the Discord. Alright, let's see if it's... Let's see if this fixed it. Because now it's picking up desktop audio.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Let's... Because I relaunched this...
Yeah, came up this time.
Yeah. Alright. Welcome to the world tomorrow, where we got technical difficulties left and fucking right.
There. Now I'm important again. Although I seem to be a little bit loud. Maybe I should turn my microphone down a little bit.
Yeah, I'll adjust desktop audio just a smidge. I might get my mic down a little bit because I got kind of a loud voice. All right.
You know, the guest shouldn't be the overpowering one, I think.
Well, you're less a guest and more of a co-host anyway.
Well, I'm no Fenris, though.
Well, I'm basically dead air because I'm kind of a quiet person usually. Except when I'm typing, then I will say I'm a chatterbox. Let's see.
I'll just turn myself down about 10%. We'll see how that sounds.
Yeah. So, we need to get caught up on a lot of things. Like the dub actors and their petty drama.
Petty drama? What? No, those don't exist.
What shocks me most is all the gay outs that were involved. All the homosexual operations. Like, Crowd couldn't even keep his little Discord shenanigans a secret, and you people think you can do it?
It's just in general that, like, it's very amusing that people seem to think that they can start drama and think that there's no way anybody can trace something back to them.
I know. Well, the funny thing about that Mars girl bitch is that she's the one who knew about Juwaria and all his dirty little secrets. And she tries to act like she didn't know, but she knew.
I don't know, man. It's almost the downside of being on streams with you is that you tell me about all these things and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I'm so out of the loop on so much now.
Well, she was. You're her child awesome. That's like associated with that guy with the glasses and all that. She was one of the people involved in that, but she's a relative nobody. Now she's trying to make herself the Ania Sarkeesian of anime.
Speaking of which, did you see they started a new series?
Which one?
Tropes versus queers in video games or something like that.
Oh God!
And it's not even with her; it's with somebody else now. It's like, oh dear, they're multiplying.
I'd be shocked if she's not doing it with Riley Dennis.
No, it's not Riley. Thank God it's not Riley.
Oh God! Here's the funny thing about Riley Dennis. I can at least stand him more than Adam Conover.
Never heard of that one.
You never heard of Adam Conover? He's that guy from Adam Ruins Everything.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually know, like, by name basis.
Yeah. Sinatra did a video debunking what he was saying in some video once, and I couldn't make it halfway through. It's like, oh God, this guy is so cringy. I just couldn't. It's one of those people you can't really stomach that long, but I could stomach Riley Dennis a little bit more because it's like, oh, look how stupid it is.
Well, in a way, a lot of these people, like, there's a threshold in how much you can withstand, because a lot of the time, they make, at least in every video, they make one point that you're like, okay, fine, I get where you stand. It's just the problem is the percentage of the rest of the video that is just utter face palming, and in some cases that person is 95% of the rest of the video, some cases it's 75%. And then there's the special ones where it's 99.9 and you're thinking, man, why even bother?
Pretty much.
Like I've said it before, there have been a couple of Anita videos, especially in the beginning, where, you know what, I sat there and been like, you know what, I don't like the approach and I disagree with a lot of what you're saying, but I understand why you think the things that you think.
Yeah.
The problem is she has a real issue with, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, doing fucking research once in a while.
Like the fact that in Hitman you lose points when you kill people who aren't the targets.
Just in general, like the idea that like so many times she'll bring up the damsels in distress, or she'll bring up the over sexualization, but she'll always bring up games where it's like, that's kind of the theme, Anita. Like you're not taking the things that are out of context. Like again, it goes back to the whole Dead or Alive thing where people were like, man, Why is it so sexualized? I'm like, because it's always been. Like, if you don't want to fucking play that kind of stuff, like, just go play, like, the 9,000 other fighting games that are out there, including all the indie ones that no one talks about.
Of course, because, like I always say, Dead Life has always been a titty game.
Well, and it's also the idea, too, that normally they just go after things that are really popular, but it's even strange to think that Dead or Alive isn't even that popular anymore, so it's almost mystifying why they're targeting Dead or Alive now. Like, Dead or Alive hasn't really been that relevant since, like, the Xbox and PlayStation 3 days.
I know.
Or PlayStation 2, I should say.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I was saying to you in the chat yesterday, it's like I haven't played a Dead or Alive game since Ultimate, since Xbox, and I think I've just based on what I've seen in terms of how many articles get written about them that have nothing to do with the sexual content. It doesn't seem like a lot of people play it.
I would like to apologize for blowing up like I did yesterday because
I don't give a fuck.
I know, but I got a little bit.
I was laughing honestly when you kind of snapped a little bit. I'm like, oh shit, I think I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, because my only complaint is that all the Dead or Alive games are about the damn ninjas. Like, if you look at Street Fighter or Tekken, Heihachi and Bison, they got a lot of enemies. They have a life outside that one person they fuck with. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, and I get that. It's just at the same time I look at it and be like, man, it's a fighting game, and it's also Dead or Alive. So I'm like, I'm not expecting very much in terms of quality out of it, aside from what it already does well.
Yeah, but also they have the Ninja Gaiden series for the ninjas, so just tell that story through that.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, there's a lot of games that have like offshoots and they still do things. Like, obviously, not a lot of people seem to care about Vincent in Final Fantasy VII, but yet they've made a whole other spin-off game on him too. So it's just,
yeah.
In a way, I guess it's just you have your preferences on certain characters, and I guess Team Ninja just decided that, you know, Ayane and Kasumi and Hayate, like, those are the ones they wanted to go after.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I don't know. Isn't Helena's father like the guy that's orchestrating these tournaments or something?
I thought Christy was the one that killed her parents.
No, Christy. Wait a minute. Yeah, I think Christy's the one that was an assassin, but I don't know.
This is Dead or Alive story. I don't remember much of it.
I know.
Other than the fact that Zack is a giant pervert and made an island specifically for them all to play beach volleyball on.
Yeah.
That's my extent of Dead or Alive lore these days.
My complaint about Dead or Alive is how I can't pronounce her name because it's like weird. The Chinese girl. She's got this obsession with that Bruce Lee knockoff.
Oh, I think it's Jan Lee.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up my games.
Yeah, it's Jan Lee.
Because like every fighting game seems to have the Bruce Lee look-alike.
I know, but I just don't find Jan Lee that interesting. It's like, why is she so obsessed with him? He's uninteresting. He's like just a typical martial arts wonderkin.
Penny, you've watched anime, right?
Yes.
Girls are always interested in the most like boring guys.
I know. I'm just like,
I think that's just a Japan thing in the same way that they just really love depression.
I know, like Naruto, back when I watch it. Why are these girls so interested in Sasuke? He's that emo kid that gets his ass kicked by all the cool kids.
Well, I mean, look, these are the people that think Lightning is the greatest Final Fantasy character next to Cloud and Sephiroth, which tells you that if that's their top three, it's like, oh dear, what have we done?
Reset the simulation! Because I always call Final Fantasy 13 Battle Shotokan.
I didn't mind the second game because at least Lightning wasn't too big a problem with it. Also, they made an older version of Hope, and he wasn't so much of a little shit. And I'm like, oh, you're actually somewhat likable. Yeah. And then I can throw Moogles around. Also, the music is so underrated in that game. The music in 13.2 is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like in that game, and then when they said, oh, we're making another one, I'm like, oh, cool, they're going to continue that story? It's all Lightning again. I'm like, oh, well, I guess like it was a good run. They have one good one.
Yeah.
Because I tried 3 different times to go through the original 13, and I just can't. I can't do it.
Crap. I think at this point Final Fantasy's pretty much dead to me because they moved so far away from like the fantasy elements that it's not really the same.
I'm not quite at that point yet. 15 was going to be that make or break, and 15 did the weird thing where they did good enough that I'm curious, but they also sucked at the end bad enough that I'm like, ooh, you guys still aren't showing that you know how to write a story anymore.
I know.
Like, I feel that they've at least understood that they need to be able to go back to the roots a little bit, and I think that's why you saw games like I Am Setsuna and another one that they're working on that I just can't think of the title of that looks amazing. So it seems like they're branching out again, which is good. It's just a matter of can they recapture that love for Final Fantasy, or is it just going to become their game where they just, try shit and just keep going off the license as its selling point, which seems like it's been what they've been doing for a while.
Yeah. It could be worse. It could be Kingdom Hearts where they got 27 point whatever in between the games.
Well, they finally finished that saga, so we'll see how many side games for the new quest we have now. Speaking of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, I just finished writing my review that I'm going to post up tomorrow, and I talked about how I'm not that upset that Final Fantasy characters are not in there, but come on, man. You could have had Cindy as your goddamn gummy ship mechanic. How can you fail at having, like, cartoony girl in hot pants? Come on.
You'd think they'd know better by now.
What are they, gay?
Well, given how much fan art there is of Kingdom Hearts between Riku and Sora alone, I can make the judgment that maybe they just are.
Well, that's kind of the reason why I grew to hate Kingdom Hearts, because of all the gay shipping between the members of Organization 13.
Well, what else were they gonna do? They're nobodies.
They never learn.
They ain't got a heart.
Also, there's like one girl in the group.
Yeah, Marluxia. Well, because, I mean, by the lore standard, there's really just Larcene, and then there's, technically Xion. But that's only counting if you've played the DS game 358 under 2 days, which I haven't because I have not seriously played a handheld console since the Game Boy Advance.
I used to for like Monster Hunter, now I can play on the PC.
Well, it's always been with me with handhelds is that I guess I got so accustomed to playing on a console that, I don't know, playing on a small screen is weird to me now. Like,
yeah.
And not to mention that, like, I don't travel much that if I'm not driving, so having a handheld even for, like, say, if I was on a bus or a train or whatever, it's not a thing that I ever have to worry about.
Wow.
So,
kind of like
even having a handheld just doesn't make any sense.
Well, even the mobile games I do play, like King's Raid, it just looks so much better on the PC.
Oh, I literally just... Every morning I wake up, I log into Fire Emblem, Bungo Stray Dogs, and Memoria Freeze just to get the bonuses, and if something is interesting, then I might play it for maybe 30 minutes, and that'll be it.
Yeah, it's the same with me and Memoria Freeze, unless the event's good.
I'm just waiting for that event. I got 5,000 Irish just sitting there waiting.
I had, like, a bunch saved up for, like, the Valentine. I didn't even know the Valentine's was coming, but I wanted Ryu.
I usually just wait for the summer, because they always have something interesting.
Yeah. Well, I wanted that Ryu in a school uniform. And every time I rolled it, ain't enough.
I don't know. Every time I look at Ryu, I'm like, you know what? It's not bad, but I just can't get past the fact that she looks absolutely so much better in her original Gale uniform.
Well done.
I like her in the movie costume she has in this banner.
I'm hoping they release the movie up here in Canada. I know I've heard that they're supposed to be releasing it with subtitles in the States, but they haven't announced any dates for Canada yet. They were supposed to put the Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions movie up here, and then they changed that. I was really fucking pissed about that. And I'm thinking, man, you didn't put that one up, but you put Bungo Stray Dogs Dead Apple in theaters? Like, I got to go see that in theaters up here, and I didn't think for a goddamn chance I get to see that. They better put the fucking Danmachi movie in there. Because that one's actually a popular series that most people know of now.
Yeah. It has great characters. And I had this crazy thought about like the sword oratoria. That's less about
My crew says we've got
eyes
two problems.
and more about
Wizards on a tower
what's her
roof
name, the
doing
elf.
Who knows what?
Lefia?
And the fallen
Lefia.
they've spooked.
So who do we fight?
I
What
gotta
about-
watch that series. I finally got
They're using
Amazon
single
Prime,
cells
so I can
to build
finally
an
get the video
explosive
service.
countermeasure to the
Ah.
hive. Sloppy stuff. It'll blow us all sky
Same
high.
with the second season of Seikano. I've been trying to watch that for a long time now, and I just got lazy.
I can't get into Psychono because I just get this feeling from the start that oh, the autistic girlfriend who's completely dependent on him is going to win.
Oh, who would that be? Because none of them really exist to that. I mean, sure. I mean, there's the one like who's a
Kato.
little. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far to say that she's autistic and shit. It's just she just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
She's more just being brought into the situation. She's like, I didn't ask for any of this.
She never asked for this. Sorry, but when I hear something like that, then
I know you're thinking that you forgot to start the stream like that, didn't you?
I don't do that anymore. Because once I want to, like, from streaming Deus Ex, I never asked for this.
I really like that show, but then again, I think it was just, especially with shows like that, I just like chill shows that I don't have to really have my brain on for anything.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really liking like a show like Minaria
We've got
Friends,
their
where
fuel
it
cells.
literally is just
They won't be
calming.
blowing up anything today. I see what they were doing. Volatile catenary.
A friend of mine gave me his trial passes for
Sending you
Crunchyroll, so I was
coordinates to the
watching
hive.
like Girly Air Force
Right,
and
coordinates.
Index
Hive.
3.
If we tweak this and rejigger
Yeah, I
that,
got some
that should work.
kind of
What should work?
criticism for watching
We'll call
Girly
it
Air
a
Force.
hive disruptor. Let's go
It's like-
disrupt some hive.
I don't see the problem with the show. It's just that show, I gave it 3 or 4 episodes, and I'm just like, dude, like, you're not moving. Like, if it's supposedly a harem anime, why am I waiting so long for the second girl? Like, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, it takes a while for. Well, Eagle, she's not really a contender because she's like. Well, she's stupid. The next best option's Phantom.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then we automatically have to write a Yotsuba from quintuplets. Because
Yeah.
she's dumb as fucking doornails. I love her, but she is dumb as fucking doornails.
I know. Well, she's
That's why anybody that's trying to have the best girl conversation, I keep telling them, you have to immediately write out Yotsuba and Itsuki, because Yotsuba is a fucking bag of bricks, and Itsuki's just the classic bitch character that eventually falls for him at the end. It's like, come on, guys, like, it's overdone. It's stupid. Like, just admit you'd fuck her. Okay, we can do that, but if you're gonna talk about, like, actual wife material, it's like, no!
Nope.
You'd be better off just taking a dominatrix at that point.
Pretty much.
I gotta say though, like ever since I stopped doing weekly written reviews of all the shows, this season has been absolutely amazing to watch because now I don't have to think about all the shit I gotta write anymore. I'm just watching.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've actually like legitimately watched a series without ever thinking about what I'm gonna say about it.
Pretty
In fact,
much.
I think it's probably been 3 years since the last time I was watching anime just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I wasn't before, but it's just, you know, after every show I had to think, okay, what do I need to write about this? Now it's just, fuck it, I'll watch it, and if I feel like saying something, I'll write it, I don't know, a couple of days from now.
Yeah. I think it'd be better just take the approach that Raging Golden Eagle does, where he just, well, he used to do like one video per seasons about which shows he's recommending. But now he does like a stream once a season.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because now that I'm doing a Saturday morning stream, I'm probably going to do stuff like that where I'm just going to note like how things are running. It depends on how much time I use up. I know I've half thought about what Glass Reflections does on his channel, where he does like a first reaction, so he says what he thinks after the first 3.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Like it's just I don't know what I was thinking doing the weekly thing. I think it was initially like me trying to prove to myself that I could stay on a weekly schedule.
Yeah.
And I did that for a good 2-3 years, and now I'm just like, I don't need to prove that shit anymore. Like I'd rather be writing something that I want to write so it actually looks like I give a shit when the article comes out, rather than what I'm sure a lot of what I did used to look like, where it just looked like I was just going through the motion.
Pretty much. Also, you don't want to be like those anatubers where they... A lot of times it's just like... The stuff they like is like the most entry-level anime ever.
I don't think that necessarily matters so much. It's just, again, it's like when I know people that watch like 20 ongoing anime, and it's like, dude, how do you have the time to just put up with all that?
Yeah.
Like, even now, I'm watching 10 shows, and even then, there's a couple of times where I'm like, man, I don't want to watch anymore. Like, especially, I guess, because some of the shows I have now are very taxing, like The Promised Neverland, where, like, I seriously hate myself after watching it. Same with Shield Hero. That show is making me seriously test my care for society.
All women are whores. I had that image on my laptop. This is funny.
It is kind of strange how the way that society is reacting to the Shield Hero in that anime is very reminiscent of the way that certain people are being treated in the ether today.
You mean Vic?
Uh...
Because he's kind of like a real-life Shield hero.
I don't know. I mean, I'm still not going to sit here and say that, you know, I know that Vic didn't do anything. It's just a matter of, I think it's either being overblown or people are maybe going a little too ham on this.
Well, also you have to kind of look at the way it's... Some of these accusers are acting. It's sort of like... They still don't get it that a lawsuit's coming, and they haven't lawyered up.
Well, I mean... It's like this with a lot of situations where I used to be a lot more interested in going deeper into these things, and now it's just like, dude, I don't have the capacity to go in and do like a shit ton of research. Like, I'll let guys who really want to go get behind this stuff go ahead and do that, but I can't be bothered to spend hours trying to research so much stuff, trying to find if this is true or not. It's like, dude, either you did or you didn't, and we'll figure it out eventually. At some point, somebody will come out with proof, or if, you know, it goes long enough without proof, then there's a pretty good indication that there's nothing going on. It was like the Kavanaugh thing way back when. I had people that were getting so up in arms about it, and I'm just like, dude, I'll wait till the court's finished, because I can't care enough. I could not give less of a fuck.
I know, it's one of those things that just makes you hate people.
Well, even just in general, it's just like, man, can we just wait till we actually, like, get a little information instead of assuming everything? Like the Covington thing where people saw 30 seconds of a video and didn't ask the question, well, that seemed a little bit of a strange exchange. Why would this kid just be standing there staring at a Native American and smiling? Like, what could have led to that moment? Oh, they just immediately think it must have been racism.
Uh-huh. And they didn't bother looking at Nathan Phillips a little bit, like... It's sort of like that. He's like a professional victim.
I mean, to be fair, they shouldn't have to go and dig up a guy's past. And this is the whole thing, too, about like what's going on with Terry Cruz, for example, where it's like, why are we digging up people's past in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about what Nathan Phillips or Terry Crews or anybody has fucking done, you know, 5, 10, 20 years ago. Like, I don't give a shit. If we're talking about an event that just happened, show me all the evidence that led up to that event so I can see what happened at that moment. Because what happened at that moment is not the same person that was there 4 years ago when he made a certain tweet or said something in an interview.
Pretty much.
What was that? I can feel the shaking from here. What did you do?
It's just that case of everybody wants to be able to find the one bad thing because they can't find anything immediately.
Well, it's like... There's a generation of, like, college students that heard about, like, the civil rights era, and they want to live through that now. Because they want to be seen as some trailblazer or something like that to give their life meaning.
I think it's just a matter of we haven't had anything really serious happen to us in a long time, and they don't really know what to do with that.
Pretty much.
I mean, when you live in an era that is better... Well, I mean, every era that we live in is better than the previous one. It's just now we have social media and technology that makes it so that we get so much more information by the minute that we're getting bored so easily. So the second that we realize, oh, there's nothing interesting going on in my life, and you look at how much stuff went on in the past, you're thinking, man, I wish it could be that interesting. So they're just... It's almost like they're trying to fabricate another, like, civil rights movement just so there's something that they can say when, you know, they talk to their grandkids what they were doing when, you know, their age.
I know. And I'm like probably one of the few people that's like, I just want to be a lazy bum and do nothing with my time.
Oh yeah, I'd be happy to sit with like my grandkids being like, "What was it like when you were 20 years old?" I'm like, I don't know, I was games all day.
Pretty much.
Well, I'm the guy that's like, man, if nothing is going on, then that's probably for the best because it means no one's fucking dying.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the thing, like, I don't like this whole mentality of they want to be a hero and all that because it's just like, so self-important.
Well, it's like the Smollett's case where people were like they were really disappointed that he actually didn't get lynched. It's like, what?
Well,
wait, you're disappointed that a really terrible thing actually didn't happen? Like, what?
I know, when I heard that story, it's like, yeah, that didn't happen. Because there's no way a white supremacist is going to put a noose around a black guy's neck and not finish the job.
Well, it's even funnier with the idea that there was a couple of guys that, on a whim, at 2 in the morning in like Chicago or wherever the fuck it was, they're just like, not only were they going to go walk around and try to find a black guy, but they're going to carry a noose the entire way around, and nobody was going to say a damn thing about it, because, you know, it's 2 a.m. in Chicago. Cops are probably frequenting around, and no one's going to question that someone's just walking around with a fucking noose.
And a bottle of bleach.
Yeah, exactly. It's just...
It's
one of those things that it's like, look, like, I could understand if the guy said, oh, a couple of white guys just, you know, grabbed me from behind and just started beating me up in the street. It's like, okay, that's a little plausible. But it's like, oh, they poured bleach on me and tied me with and tried to hang me with a noose. It's like,
Also, the whole, aren't you that faggot nigger from Empire? Like, people from it, white supremacists don't know anything about Empire.
I was going to say, there's a pretty good shot that anybody who's going to go to that length, they probably don't watch anything like that. They're too busy watching, you know, the 9th Alex Jones stream that day.
And that's what the whole thing, like, I never even watched Empire. It just looked like a, because I'm not really into rap music and all that, so, like, why would I know any of the characters from that show?
You know, it's just one of those things where it's not even necessarily that we don't have to believe people. It's that at some point we should be asking a few questions when things seem a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily saying that they're lying, but it's a matter of, okay, that's really strange. Like, okay, what's going on here?
Yep, that's kind of the thing. It's like, it's just a little too on the nose.
Yeah. And it just goes back to what you were saying earlier, that people wanting to be a hero. It's just, man, like, everybody is trying to act like, I think it's a matter of they're not doing anything and they're trying to fabricate some way to actually feel like they are making a difference now. And it's like, most of us are sitting back here being like, if I make a difference or not is inconsequential to my life. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. It's like, I just want to live a simple life.
Well, it's like, would I want to be remembered by people? I would love to be, but I'm not going to go out of my way to try to make it happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to be by circumstance. It's going to be by the natural order of things. I'm not just going to go around and try to force people, in a way, I guess, to believe that I'm a hero. It's like, if I'm going to be a hero, it's going to be because I actually did something heroic, not just, you know, jumping in and trying to, you know, make something like newsworthy. It's just what all I see to gain from that is attention for about 5 seconds until people realize the fraud that I am. So it's like, why would you go down that road?
Bagged another walker. What are we up to, Sloan? 16?
Yeah, it's just,
I stopped counting
well,
sometime back. You keep
so the
racking
small
them up.
sign, it's kind of like my idea of a Reldex character I created. He doesn't want to be a hero, he doesn't want to be a villain, he just wants to be let the fuck alone.
So he's what, One Punch Man?
No, he's just, One Punch Man, he's just a hero for fun. This guy's just a misanthrope that tried being a good guy once,
oh
but...
wait, no, I'm thinking that harem anime that you were telling me about where the guys in the left the fuck alone and farm.
Oh, Nanbiri Noka. Yeah, he just wants to farm. And every time some new girl gets out to the harem, it ends with her moaning in ecstasy.
And he's just like, son of a bitch.
And he's tired. He's like, I don't want to have sex anymore.
You didn't think that would be possible in anime terms, but apparently there is a limit.
Well, he's been gang raped by a bunch of elves before.
Well, I mean, come on. You watch High School DxD, the guy's still hanging in there, so you're thinking, okay, come on. Elves, right?
Yeah. That's the thing I don't get about a lot of these hairs. Like, how are you turning this down?
Although then again, watching Diablo in Isekai Mao is pretty entertaining because he's just like, dude, I can't take it. It's too much.
Well, he wasn't neat in his life, so he just doesn't know how to interact with women.
Well, to be fair, how many of us actually do? But if you get faced in that situation, you're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I do a quick double check just to be like, no one else is here. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go.
Pretty much. Because I was watching Index 3, and Lesser, she's throwing herself at Toma, and he's got like the resistance of a monk or something like that, because he's like, how are you turning her down? Then again, remember, he likes older women. He doesn't like younger girls. He wants older Onisans.
Well, okay, but what are we defining as younger girls? Because in anime, that could be two completely different things.
Yeah. Well, I think
Because how old is he in the show?
He's like 16.
Okay, so younger girls means child. Okay.
No.
All right, well, there we go.
And I've been banned from YouTube.
Who are you kidding? If you were going to get banned from YouTube, it would have been from lesser things already at this point.
Yeah, like when I quote what those guys said about Jussie Smollett. Let's see. Stop playing Destiny 2 because I don't know what else to do right now. It's been a while since I've played it.
Well, that's the thing. After, I mean, the news DLC they put out, the Black Armory, is just a lot of that stuff is really high level gated, and is just, again, the only way I'm catching up really is if I start raiding, and none of my friends are playing really these days, so it's like, shit, I don't want to have to go into like random groups and try to raid again.
I know, that's why I kind of stopped playing for a little bit, because it's like...
I used to do it early on. I really tried my best to do like the old LFG methods, and it's not very fun when you have a very high chance of dealing with people that are going to piss you off within the first 5 minutes because you made one mistake.
Like some squeaker that keeps blaming everyone else for...
Honestly, not even squeakers are usually the least of my problems when it comes to Destiny.
I still have
it's usually like the grizzled like piece of shit like guy in his 30s.
The get good asshole.
He's done it 3 times and did them all with people who are really good, so he expects everybody else to be just as good as that. And he wants to be carried. But he actually knows how to do everything, even though everybody else is doing all the real work.
Oh, you mean the Shiro A wannabes?
Yeah.
That basically turn people off from the classic MMOs like World of Warcraft. Why are you doing the damage that everyone else is? Because I just got to this tier of the game. I'm not overgeared like you faggots.
Well, it's like, I remember seeing videos of people like within the first hour of Apex Legends being like, dude, why aren't you playing this hero? That's the meta. And a guy's like, the game just fucking came out.
Well, I had this mentality about meta that meta's for fags.
It depends on what the game is. Like, when I first started playing Hearthstone, I tried to adapt to the meta, but that's also because there was no expansion, so it was really easy to get a good chunk of the cards.
Yeah.
Now, whatever the meta is, if I jumped back into Hearthstone and there was a certain meta, I'd be like, dude, it's going to take me forever to get to this point again. Fuck that. I'll just play the one that makes it fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like playing King's Raid. I don't like following meta and being a slave to it. I want to use who I want to use. I play for the waifus. I don't play to be the best.
I think there's a hybrid to it. I find with, like, say, Memoria Freeze, for example, the characters that I get in terms of my random drops, I'll kind of look at the meta just to see who's really been working the best in certain
Yeah.
in certain aspects. So like if I'm looking for a really good mage, that's how I got is it Elf's Honor Lefia? I think that's the one that I have now
I don't,
second limit break to. Like
uh,
there's a couple of them that I've limit breaked a little bit just because they're just have the higher stats. I mean,
yeah.
there's stuff like that where it makes sense.
I rolled nonstop trying to get her, and I got spooked by, I think, Hestia every time.
Well, I got lucky getting her the first time, and then this current event where they're doing a couple of the elementals, she was in the fire element, and I managed to get her. I had like a there was going to be one of them guaranteed, and there was 5 of them, and I'm thinking, oh god, it's probably going to be the one I really don't want, and then it ended up being her. So
Yeah, I got lucky a few times, but I had to use like the what you call it, the hero things by the adventure limit breaks.
I think it's Heroes Falma.
Yeah, they had to get buy a few of those to get our succession bell up to the, and then I got the last one needed from a random drop. 'Cause
Yeah, like not counting the Ryu from the Summer Love event, I don't really have anybody that can go past like 64. And like any of my actual like good characters, they don't go past 64.
yeah,
Although I think I do have somebody from the Attack on Titan event that should be able to go pretty high, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mixing them up.
yeah, I didn't really roll on the Attack on Titan event because I really don't
I,
like.
I, I just rolled on Mikasa just because I wanted to see if I was. So I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, because I don't really like Attack on Titan. I just didn't roll.
I don't either, but I really like the artwork that gets done of Mikasa. So
Yeah, everyone's got that one thing that they like about series.
well, it's like, look, I give Sword Art a lot of crap, but the one thing I don't give them crap for is their official art is fucking fantastic.
Hmm.
Whereas shows like Naruto, Bleach, and other such shows are awful in all ways. None of their art gives me any attention either.
No,
I don't understand how people get so into that art when it's like, dude, they look fucking ugly as shit.
well, so Naruto's just like I won't get started on that because I've gone tirades about that before. But the story and how they just made they just contradicted everything the story was about.
No, story means jack shit to me at this point.
Yeah, yeah, I complain about like
It's just like a lot of animes that I don't like. I can at least like go through some of the official artwork and be like, all right, well, they did something cool here. Naruto, for example, I have not found a piece of artwork, whether fan drawn or official, that I'm just like, all right, that's pretty good.
hmm
No, nothing on either side. So I don't know if it's just the way the characters are designed in the first place, or if it's just they're characters that just can't be drawn very well.
Well, it's also the fact that they all dress like they're going to a breakdancing competition.
Yeah, that could be also part of it.
Breaking 2 Ninja Floor Boogaloo. It's just like, how? Meanwhile, like I mentioned before, I play King's Raid, which is a very good mobile game. But I've had to just stay away from certain communities for the game because, like Reddit and their official community unplug, because we've gotten certain elements now. These are the people who come in knowing this is like a waifu game and bitch about the lack of male characters.
And it's like you haven't seen gacha games before, have you?
Pretty much, like, I remember, because they're posting like teaser videos for like one of the new NPC heroes you could get, and people are like, but they won't get the muscly dragon guy because we just don't like muscular men. Like, I don't want to say, you do realize this is a weeb game, right?
Well, it's like they're like you just point them in the direction of Bungo Stray Dogs. That game is pretty much like 80% guys.
Yeah.
It's like there you go. There's your option.
I know, because here's the thing. It'd be like bitching about how Girls Frontline, all the characters are girls. Yes, because it's called Girls Frontline. The girls are the soldiers. The only like there's probably only like 2 male characters in the whole game. The commander you play as, and Mr. Krieger, who's the head of mercenary company.
But isn't it also so interesting that like there are people complaining that there are games like say King's Raid and Girls Frontline where there's no guys in it?
Well,
Or there's not enough? No,
have.
sorry, but not enough either.
Yeah.
But at the same time, these are the same people that will also turn around and be like, "How come there's not more games with women in them?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, at what point do I get to stab you with the double-edged sword that you've been carrying?
Pretty much, because it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, here we go again. Because the reason why the game's been doing so well in Japan is because, well, Japan likes titty characters. Let's be honest about it.
I mean, look, I've said it before, whether on my blog, whether in my own videos, whether probably on stream here once or twice. If I had it my way, every game would have the option to have everybody in those situations. It wouldn't just be diverted in one direction. Because I do think it would be nice if that especially with a harem anime, for example, that instead of just having every single girl under the sun undressing, at least have the guy like in a shower once in a while too. Like, stop pretending that doesn't happen. But at the same time, if a game decides they want to make a game like Skullgirls, which is basically all girls, although I think they started adding a couple guys in later on. But if they want to make that choice, like, there's nothing fucking wrong with that. It would be a problem if 90% of games were just female characters or just male characters, but they're not.
Well, you think about it, it's like that guy who had Saber as his waifu, and they found out that her origin was a porn game.
Dude, that's the only part of Fate Stay Night I ever played.
I know.
Still to this day, it's the only legit Fate Stay Night property I ever actually not only played but finished.
Yeah, because I looked into Fate Extella for the PC, and I don't like any of these servants, so hard pass for me.
I own a copy of Fate Extra on Vita, I think. It's either Vita or PSP.
Yeah.
And it's just sat there. I don't think I ever actually tried playing it. I think I just got it because it's probably on sale for like $10. I'm like, oh, I like Fate Stay Night. Let's see what this is. And then I took a look at it afterwards and been like, I guess I'll play it some other time.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the thing with the Fate series is like, everyone has their preferred servants.
Not even that. It's just there's so goddamn many now. I don't think anybody can keep up anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing. And I will be that guy that will say, Tamamo is not the best girl. She's more like Tamaho.
See, this has already gone far enough that I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about.
The fox girl.
Still don't know what you're talking about.
Tamamo no Mae or whatever. She's like a nine-tailed fox or something like that. And she's basically a whore.
Let's see. Oh, that girl. I didn't know that was her name.
Yeah, Tamamo.
Yeah, I've seen art, and that's as far as it goes, so I don't even know where the hell she's from.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Granddaughter. Okay, well.
Well, she's in Granddaughter. I think she's in Fate Extella. She's one of the main servants you can get.
Like I said, I go as far as Saber, Rin, Sakura, although I kind of don't count Sakura for anything. And Ryder, that's as far as I go. And then when I saw
Worm
things, I'm like,
Girl
oh,
is the worst girl. Worm Girl is the worst girl. Because my stance on, like, Heaven's Feel route is basically, yes, let's put the most mentally damaged people together. Because there's no way it's going to go sideways.
And there's just a Stolfo where I'm just like, all right, let's go with that.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
Let's see. Faye Extella. Let's see. Basically, it's got Nero, Archer, Gawain, Ku, Colin, Li Shuwen, Tamamo, and Karna, Elizabeth Bathory, Medusa, Lubu, Altera, Gilgamesh, and let's see, Jen the Arc, and Saber Classic. And it's just like,
I think it's another thing too with the gacha games where it's just they overload so many characters that you just like, I'm lost.
Well, it's also the fact that you'll save up all your quartz on a stingy game to try and roll for the one character you want, and it fucks you over. Because
it's like when I look at some gacha games with how many fucking characters there are now. Like the reason that still works with me is because I started right at the beginning.
yeah,
But like to jump into any of those games now, it'd be like, dude, I might as well just start spending money and get into fucking Magic the Gathering again. Jesus Christ.
well, that's the reason why I like King's Raid. You don't have to play the gacha to get the heroes. You can just save the rubies and buy them outright.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot better. The only thing you have to really gacha for is basically their weapons. And they give you a way to get that without having to roll the gacha, but it's going to take a while.
I do dislike the idea that there are a lot of gacha games, and then if people come into the game much later, and they'll never see those characters.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I hate, like limited characters like Gene Alter.
I get licensed ones like Memoria Freeze had Kino's Adventure, or they've had Attack on Titan and stuff like that. I get those characters, but like if it's just a a Christmas event or something like that, it's like, dude, like if you've already released them before, have them sitting there in the archives so you can just buy them outright after. Like, I don't know, when the event's over, maybe wait another, let's say 2-3 months, and then just put them in an archive section where you can buy them for a certain amount of currency.
Yeah.
And not fucking paid currency. That's another fucking stupid thing about gacha games.
I know. See, here's what I like about King's Raid. It's so generous because I can earn like over 1,000 rubies a week for free. It takes about 6,000 to buy a new character. And
Well, it's like I said, I love Memoria Freeze, but I may have 5,000 Iris, but there's also still the paid Iris version of stuff. Where it's just
oh
like,
god, I hate that shit because it's like you have a banner with just the character I want, but you want me to pay for it.
it's like I'm willing to pay for it, but let me work towards it so I don't have to necessarily spend $5 on it.
Yeah. Let's see. When they release new characters in King's Raid, there's like a Tier 1 package you can get because it's one of the stages of their advancement. This lets you get them to like, because then you get Tier 5, which is the final one. That takes a while to get to. And that's like $45, but it gives you their unique weapon and unique treasure and stuff like that.
Well, I think with the sheer cost too, that's the thing that drives me nuts the most. Like when you see the tier that's like paying $100 for the currency, and you actually know how much that currency is worth, and you're thinking it's not worth $100.
Well, that's the thing that turns me off about wailing on stuff like Fate Grand Order and I think the Memoria Freeze. It's like it's a bad exchange rate. You're not getting very much for your money. You probably get enough for one roll.
I'm gonna do a quick look here because I'm a big baseball guy, so I've been playing the newest MLB game on Play, and I put a ton of time into it. And I'm about to go look up how much you have to pay for the max amount of currency that you can get in one go. So right now, I can pay $67 Canadian, which is probably around like $50 US, to get what is called 150,000 stubs. Now, I've been playing the auction market through there. I can make that much in about, sometimes in a single day, and sometimes I can, if most of the time it'll take me 2 or 3 days to make that kind of currency. So it's either right now I can pay $67 fucking dollars, or I can just do the work for 3 days, which is insane. Now, I don't know what it'll be like, say, at the beginning of the new game, where it might be the same way. Because, I mean, the market right now is a little bit weird because most of the people that are playing it now are just the few people just trying to dump shit.
Well, while we're on the topic, let's talk about how much DLC costs for like a game like Dead or Alive 5.
Well, apparently the entire amount of content for Dead or Alive 6 is like $90-something, which is actually less than what Dead or Alive 5's is.
I know, because I remember looking at how much all those costumes costed, like up to $1,000.
I was laughing because people were like, man, Dead or Alive's charging, I think it was like $92. Like, it's $92 to get all the costumes, and my first thought is, $92? That's a fucking steal for Dead or Alive.
I was looking on a PlayStation Store a few years ago, it's like, what the fuck? That's expensive for all that DLC. And I'm like,
I think we're at the point that we're very accepting of it because you're like, you know what? As long as it's cosmetic, I don't mind DLC. Now I think we're at the point that we expect DLC to basically just be cosmetic, and now we're like, okay, can we stop charging $15 for a fucking outfit, please?
Yeah. That's kind of the thing I hate about Japanese games is like their idea of DLC is like costumes. My idea
Like,
that reminds me about
sorry, go ahead.
I remember that Galgun Double Piece. They had like a piece of DLC that cost more than the game does.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see if I can find it.
That's the other thing too. If
Yeah.
I'm paying say $70 for a game, I should not be having to pay more than that for just cosmetic content.
Well, this item is called Pheromone Z or something like that. It lets you see through their clothes or something like that. And it's like $89.99.
And my brain's like, or I can just Google search it, and somebody's probably done a video of it.
Probably. It's just like
it's also just the like personally, if it was up to me,
yeah,
the most you could charge for a single outfit, and I'm talking one character, one outfit, would be $1.
Yeah,
$1, and that's it. Any more than that, and that's bullshit. That unless that outfit is going to be like something that makes you like amazing at the game on top of it, like a big boost. And even then, I'd be like, all right, $2.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I'm of the mind that the DLC in game better be like equipment or something that affects the game. I am not spending money for a cute dress.
Yeah, like even Persona 5, they had a lot of their outfits were, I don't even know if any of them were gated behind a paywall. I think all their outfits specifically were free. I know that they had you could get a bunch of the personas from the past games, and you would pay money for that. But I think in terms of costumes, I don't think any of them were charged, and if they were, it was maybe 1 or 2 out of like 10 different sets.
I got
like
Persona
even the swimsuit ones normally will cost you money, and those were free for Persona 5, which I was shocked by.
I need to try and find some time to play Persona 5. I got a little cocky a while back when I was playing it. I'm still in like the first palace or whatever.
Yeah, I eventually had to play it on an easier difficulty. I just don't have the time to grind it out like that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up writing an article at some point about that, but man, like I think in general, unless I suddenly win the lottery and have a lot of extra time on my hands, I think I'm going to be playing easy mode for the rest of my life as a gamer because I just can't be bothered to spend hours of the little time that I have left getting frustrated because I'm getting beaten over and over and over again. That's why I can't get into Dark Souls or Bloodborne or anything like that.
I don't like Dark Souls. I got for free on Xbox Live back in the day. I was like, I can't even get past the first the bull demon. I can't get past it.
I'm not saying that the game isn't rewarding because I know like all of my best friends on PlayStation are big Dark Souls guys, and they tell me over and over again, you just need to give it a shot. You just get past that threshold of learning. And I said I'd love to, but I'm at the point right now where I don't think I could justify to myself getting angry for an extended period of time for the potential that I might start really enjoying something.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. I just want to have a fun game. I don't want to have something that asphyxiates you without lube.
Well, it's like with anime. It's like I try to go out of my way to not watch anime that's going to stress me the fuck out. The Promised Neverland's one of those rare cases where it's just so goddamn good that I'm willing to put up with the horror. But most of the time, there's a reason why I tend to like hair because I don't really feel like stressing myself up any further. Especially, I work 10-hour shifts at my job. It's like I don't need to go home
and be
and
stressed
immediately
out.
just stress myself even further.
Yeah.
That's why I don't play a lot of online multiplayer anymore. I play a lot of PvP games anymore these days.
Yeah. I think we're getting to a point where we need to start having more single-player games, but Electronic Arts thinks that genre is dead.
I don't think the status quo needs to be changed at this point. I think we're getting more than enough now.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much all the best games this year have been single-player games, and I think it's going to start creating a trend that people are going to create more, and obviously we're going to see more with stuff like Days Gone, Cyberpunk is probably going to get a release date announced this year. I don't know when, but
If
there's
they
rumors floating around that it's going to come out late this year. It could be early next year or something like that. I didn't know it was that far ahead if that's the case, but
if Days Gone ever comes out, that is, because I took it a few years ago.
well, it's going to have to get out at some point.
Because what drew me to that is like a less woke version of The Last of Us. Zombie apocalypse with third person and all that.
See, I know what I saw, and I looked at it, the initial reveal trailer, and said, I know that's supposed to look cool, but I'm so done with zombies. Like zombies are a 5-year-old trend now. It's like anybody now who's making battle royale. It's like, dude, you're actually sorry, not battle royales. Survival games akin to like Rust or 7 Days to Die. Like I knew right away Fallout 76 was not going to go over well. It's because that game is a game that should have been made 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, I was saying that was it going to do well because it's basically Minecraft with a Fallout skin. And I don't like the whole idea of spending your time and build up something just so a little asshole can come and destroy it.
Well, I said it to my friends before. It's like, if you want to make a game that's going after a trend, don't be 5 years late to the party.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised that Apex Legends has done what it's done, but I think it's because Apex Legends is so polished that it's able to buck the trend that there's games that have been around for 2-3 years that have been kind of a mainstay.
Yeah. Some people have been trying to talk me in again. Apex Legends, but none of the characters really get my interest because they look boring.
I play like 2 games solo, but not like on my own. Like you're putting a fire team without talking with the people or whatever. And I understand, again, in the same way that I understood Fortnite. The difference between Fortnite and Apex, though, is that Apex seems to be directed at a much more hardcore first-person shooter kind of style.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense that game is... They put some real work into it instead of just trying to be the cartoony thing that Fortnite's trying to do in terms of getting the kid audience.
Yeah. Part of me wants Borderlands 3, but I'm also worried about how woke it's going to be because I played the pre-sequel, and the character Jane Springs, she brings up the fact she's a lesbian every fucking time she talks.
Well, speaking of genres that are starting to fall out of date, I think the looter shooter is starting to become the new no one cares anymore genre.
Yeah, because from what I hear about Anthem, it's really lackluster.
In fact, it's worse than that. Anthem has actually apparently been bricking console.
Yeah, I heard that it's killing people's PlayStations.
So, I honestly was saying the other day that actually bring back looter shooters into somewhat of an open light, as if the newest Borderlands was more an MMO than it would be what it normally is.
Yeah.
I think because Borderlands, the problem with Anthem, a big problem that it's had is that the loot is not unique. The loot doesn't look that interesting.
Uh-huh.
Division, I always had a problem with because the loot isn't that interesting. It's just guns. It's just like winter hats and armor. Like it's nothing interesting. At least Destiny's loot has a unique flavor to it.
Yeah. So it looks
Borderlands would just be insane amounts of like especially if it's under a randomizer like it usually is.
Yeah.
It's infinite loot. And in an MMO environment, you could definitely make that work because you would always be doing missions to try to get more loot because you never know what you might get that.
Well, also Borderlands, if you know where to farm, you can just save your game, reload, keep trying to get the drop you want.
Well, I think in the MMO thing, you wouldn't obviously be able to have. But I mean, just replaying like quick missions and just getting like basic loot. But if you're going to do like the raids, can be really interesting with the kind of loot that drops because they could always say, okay, well, here's the threshold. The percentages will never go lower than this, but then the percentages after that is so randomized that it could just be insane, copious amounts of damage.
Well, I remember that there's can't remember there's a specific boss in one area of Borderlands 2. Can't remember. that Voracious the Invincible or whatever, it's one of those frog kids you have to evolve until they look a certain way. And there's like a small chance that it'll spawn this big boss. And it had like a rocket launcher that could only drop from it. But it's hard to kill.
Yeah.
I need to look up where it was.
But no, I mean, I think we're starting to see that change over again. I think a lot of people are, especially now that God of War happened, Red Dead Redemption 2 happened, obviously Cyberpunk's on its way. I think people are starting to see again that maybe not every game needs to be a massive online function. And I think a lot of people also too are also kind of getting sick and tired of the watered down gameplay that a lot of online multiplayer games have to have, because they can't be that expansive, because they wouldn't be able to fit it all in.
Yeah.
So I think you're gonna start seeing a bit more single player stuff, just because you are able to get a lot more variety in that way.
Yeah.
Because certainly with how we are, I mean, there's a reason that Anthem at times seems very unpolished or dead in certain areas, or just very uninspired, is because you can't make a game like Anthem absolutely over the top interesting the entire way through, because there's no conceivable amount of resources you could put into that game that can make it work.
But here's the thing about Anthem. It did show me who the shells were on YouTube, because I like Cactus for like Destiny content, but it really showed that he's a shell, because he's just like, oh, this game's wonderful. This game's wonderful. Meanwhile,
I don't know if that necessarily means as a shill, but it's just because, I mean, I got friends that absolutely adore 76, and yet I can look at 76 and be like, it's a fucking disaster.
Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, Houndish, he's talking about stuff that didn't sit well with him, like the whole EA partnership thing. And that's the reason why he wasn't talking about it, because the other...
Well, yeah, if he's partnered and he's not saying anything, then yeah, that's being a shill.
Yeah. Because I think basically EA had this partnership program so you can stream the game, but you can't say anything bad.
But no, like what I'm talking about is anytime I see an article or a Reddit post or whatever that's talking about Anthem, and people are being like, oh, well, you know, obviously people are having issues, but I'm really enjoying it. And give those people shit. He's like, dude, it doesn't change the fact that it's a bad game. And I'm just like, guys, like, for fuck's sakes, can we just like let people enjoy the game if they're enjoying the game? If you're not enjoying the game, then just go to your own little side where you're not enjoying the game.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm never gonna play Anthem unless something crazy happens to it that makes it amazing. But I got friends right now that are playing it and loving it. I don't give a fuck that they like it. Like, I'm not suddenly going around being like, oh, you guys should mess. It's a piece of shit. It's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, because, well, people always like to talk shit about Destiny, and it's like, I just say, yeah, it's crap, but it's our crap.
No, I think now a lot of looter shooter players are they're understanding how much they miss from Destiny now that they've played Anthem. From what it sounds like, I've seen a lot of people being like, "Man, I thought Destiny was terrible. Now after playing Anthem, I didn't know how good I had it."
Yeah, the only thing that looks good about Anthem is the whole power armor thing.
And as a lot of people have said, it's not as fun as it seems, because I mean, sure, it looks pretty and the flying is kind of interesting, but when you're flying, you're not exactly doing anything. You're just waiting to get across the map, or at least in Destiny, if you're walking from place to place, you know, you still have to move around. You still have to deal with enemies here and there, but it seems like with Anthem, you're just flying up a mountain. Like with Skyrim, if you're trying to get to the top of a mountain, you're trying to figure out how to get there. So you're trying to climb up, you're trying to find hidden pathways.
You can climb
Anthem,
that
you just
mountain.
go there. Anthem, you just get to the top of the mountain. It's like there's no journey. It's just you go from point A to point B, and that's it. There's nothing in between.
Now you brought Skyrim, reminds me of my cousin. He's like bragging about how many times he's beaten Skyrim. Like, I just look at it like, you beat Skyrim?
It's like you never beat Skyrim. Just it doesn't stop.
Wow, like most people who play a Bethesda game, they don't aim to finish it. They just pick a random direction, start going that way, and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, let's go this way. no one's really sets out to finish the game. The only time you finish stuff is because you want to unlock the factions or something like that. That's kind of how I look at stuff like the Bethesda game. Like, that's the kind of thing I hate about Fallout 4. Like, you have to progress the story to unlock certain factions. Because I'm that guy that joins them all.
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to roleplay. I just want to have access to the quests.
All I know is, god damn, it's gonna be a boring spring, I think, in terms of games.
Yeah.
Like, as a PlayStation guy, there's really not a lot on that kind of stage where pretty much everybody's showing their cards and we're waiting for E3 to see what happens. And they're not even going to be at E3, so it's a matter of what's going on with the PS5, if that's a thing yet.
Yeah. I'm at the point where I'm just not feeling consoles anymore. I want to just be a PC gamer because a lot of stuff that's been going on, it's just like, I don't really want to be paying a subscription for the year just to play a game with all its features. Because like Destiny, you need to have PlayStation Plus to do the strikes or the Crucible. It's just
that's interesting. I was literally just trying to look up the list on Metacritic for all the games that are coming out, and I was looking around. Captain Marvel so far after reviews is actually getting lower ratings than Ant-Man and Infinity War, which is surprising because I thought people would be shooting that up to the fucking sky. That's actually really interesting because Black Panther's still sitting at an 88. I figured it was be a shoe-in that Captain Marvel was going to be at least in the high 70s or early 80s for sure.
Well, we all know why, because Brie Larson wants to shut her fucking mouth for 5 minutes. Well,
I think that's something that a lot of people are noting is that Black Panther, like Michael B. Jordan, and he kept his mouth shut. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, actually outright refused to take shots at people.
Well, because she served in the IDF and all that, so she understands about showing respect to people.
Well, it's also just the fact that, hey, like, here's a little message to Brie Larson, anybody else that's, on her side. You may not like the fact that there are a lot of white males that watch the movie, but those white males are the ones that are going to make you a shit ton of money. Maybe keep, try not to piss them off because that might be money not in your pocket. So I hope you don't like the little extra bonus you might be getting there, Brie, because it doesn't sound like it's coming your way from the way that the reviews are starting to turn out.
Pretty much the only outlet that loves it is the Mary Sue, because they say it's a fun movie. The only ones that don't like are men. Like,
like I'm gonna watch it on Saturday, and I'm fully expecting it to at this point be a 7 at best case scenario. Like, I went into Black Panther hoping that it would be just good. And it was actually still a great movie. It actually did a lot better than I thought it would do. Captain Marvel, I wasn't even interested in the first place. And now with this extra stuff on top of it, I'm like, ooh, this could be bad.
Yeah.
This could actually be the first MCU movie since they rebooted everything. Like, not counting the Hulk stuff. This could be the first Marvel movie that I'm like, dude, this is not good.
Well, they keep pushing this idea that hinting at they want her to be the one to beat Thanos. Like, no one would like her to beat Thanos because she hasn't been doing any heavy lifting in the MCU up to this point. So it'd be kind of like really anticlimactic.
I mean, I don't really care what they want to do if they tell a good story. It's just, in this case, it sounds more like they're just pushing, the narrative on instead of actually, writing a very intelligent story about it. I mean, obviously, I don't know a damn thing until I see the movie on Saturday, but from as it stands,
well,
Marvel movies, generally speaking, people don't talk too much shit about it, and this one has not been getting the most positive outlooks right off the bat, and that's pretty unusual.
Well, you brought up how Gal Gadot wouldn't talk shit about anyone. What's his name? Ezra Miller's trying to get her to say something about especially the cis hetero patriarchy or something like that. You could see how uncomfortable she was.
Well, because a lot of them don't give a shit. That's the other thing, too. Like, you get that set of celebrities that are so fucking like drowning in that Kool-Aid. And the other ones that are just in the background are being like, dude, I just fucking want a paycheck. I don't give a fuck.
Because I remember seeing because Sucker was, or Dave Cole was watching a video where Ezra Miller's interviewing her, and he's trying to get her to say these SJW buzzwords, and like you can see how visibly uncomfortable she was to talk about that, like because she
I
doesn't.
mean, even just in general, the buzzwords are just cringy as it is. I don't like hearing.
I know. And I just remember how visibly uncomfortable she was. Like, ugh, why can't you just be normal?
It's like, why can't we just talk about the movie?
Yeah, because I remember that video. She just looked so uncomfortable, like, because it's like talk about weeb shit with your non-weeb relatives is like you get things to see how uncomfortable they are with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
I mean, it's the reality that there are a lot of people that are getting in this industry that never cared about it in the first place. Like anyone currently who's complaining, and I mentioned this on Twitter, anybody who's complaining about the newest Baptiste, the Hispanic healer, the guy.
Yeah.
Anybody who's complaining that it's another guy in there, they clearly don't play Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they played Overwatch, they'd be really fucking ecstatic that a new hero just got added in.
Yeah. That's how I look at like King's Raid. Like every time they show new characters, there's always these people on Reddit or Plug, which is where they post a lot of stuff for the game, and they're bitching because it's another waifu, it's another big titty girl, it's another lolly. Like, I just want new cool characters. I buy both male and female characters depending on how cool they are. What factored in me getting Saria wasn't that she was a cute waifu. It's because she's a samurai girl with a katana.
Well, I mean, fuck, it's literally just as simple as, hey, I'm just happy that there's more content for the thing I like. Who knew?
Yeah.
What a concept.
And Saria...
Especially because in Overwatch, it's fucking free.
Wait, the game's free?
No, like the content. Like they're just they added new heroes in, and it's free. It's not a paid expansion pack. It's just, here you go, here's more stuff.
Yeah, unlike Heroes of the Storm, where you have to earn enough points to buy the characters you want. Otherwise, you have to just use the random characters.
Well, it's the same with Monster Hunter. Like, Monster Hunter just recently had a Witcher little event on Monster Hunter World. And again, absolutely free. And it's the fucking Witcher. Like, you would figure for that, you'd have to pay a little bit extra. No, it's fucking free.
Yeah.
And if people are like, oh, why are they adding a fucking, like, white male into the fucking game? I don't know. There's fucking 5, 10, 15, 20 fucking hours I can throw into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not costing me a dime. As a gamer, which is a word that apparently is not very nice anymore,
well,
I'm fucking happy that I'm getting free shit.
Well, don't you know that gamers hate all women and minorities?
Well, we're all incels now, right?
We live in a society, you know. Gamers rise up. 148 gang gang.
It's like what I just said. I don't think these people really give a shit about the industry. It's just a platform.
Well, it's like I was telling you about, like, when they made Soldier 76 gay, all the people are celebrating it. Like, clearly they don't play the game because they're just like, all they care about is who he fucks. Like, if you want to focus on that, go write your gay fan fiction and let people just have the game.
Well, and it goes back to what I said on my Saturday morning stream over the weekend about Dead or Alive 6's reviews, where it's like, how many of those reviews were coming out and they spent half the article talking about the sexual content from the past games? And I'm just like, that has nothing to do with this. I'm looking at your article because I want to know what you think about this game. Mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck about the extreme games. I don't give a fuck about what Dead or Alive in terms of the costumes. Tell me what is going on with 6.
Well, I remember seeing something from like, no, where, like, I think it's like the Sci-Fi Channel's website, talking about how sexualized Girls on Panzer is. Like, from what I've seen at the game, from that anime, the characters aren't that sexualized. It's more like cute girls doing cute girl things with tanks. I haven't watched the anime, but from what I understand, it's not really sexualized. No.
It's just in general, they just have to They just take the one-dimensional outlook on things.
Mm-hmm. Well, these are the same people that think any girl that doesn't look like a grandma is a lolly.
Well, depends on the anime we're talking about.
I know. Well, these are the same people that made a big fucking deal because Lily from Zombieland Saga was trans. Lily said trans rights. Like,
And I'm just like, it doesn't really change anything.
I know. When I see people do that kind of shit, like, oh my god. Every day I move further and further to the alt-right because I realize they're the only ones that aren't doing this shit.
No, they're just as fucking crazy.
I know. That's kind of the reason why I don't watch.
It's just the kind of crazy you want, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I do draw a limit. Like, I usually watch Kill Stream, but I got to the point where I went watch at certain times. Like, one night they had David Duke on, and then what's that? Cantwell, wherever that guy's name is. Like,
No idea.
but that's the funny thing about Christopher Cantwell is he claims to be alt-right, but he's awfully thin-skinned for someone in the alt-right. He gets his panties in a bunch over small things.
The alt-right, it does get their panties in a bunch quite a bit.
Yeah. I just...
Like, again, we're talking about extremists here. The extremists on both sides
Yeah.
I said it to my girlfriend a while ago. We were talking about how I'm kind of annoyed with the idea that there's not technically what you would call a conservative games journalist out there. And
No.
she said, why the hell would we get one like that? I'm like, well, look at it this way. Like an extreme conservative games journalist outlet would be just as stupid as what the leftist media is. But what that would mean is that we now have two sides of the coin because there's no such thing as a conservative gaming outlet.
No. Because basically, how I'd see it is they would be less focused on, I don't know, the gender politics and shit like that doesn't really affect the game, and more about, maybe they might be more in line with what Total Biscuit did.
No, I think no. Again, I'm still talking like the extremist side. So
Oh.
we'd probably be looking at a company that'd be like, "Oh, fuck the fact that there's women in this game. Fuck that there's another black main character." Like I'm talking that level. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, but
No.
I'm saying if we're gonna allow one side, why can't we allow the other?
Yeah.
That's the thing that always drives me nuts with people is that they say, "Well, we can't have the alt-right doing things." I'm like, "Yeah, but we're letting the alt-left do exactly whatever they want."
Yeah, the control left is
And the
everywhere.
extreme left also has the media presence.
Mhm.
This is the difference that people seem to fundamentally don't understand. The left is just as bad as the right. Let's not kid ourselves, but the difference is the left has so much more coverage. The left has the outreach to get more people than the alt-right ever could. Anybody who's worrying about the alt-right isn't seemingly understanding the fact that the alt-right does not have a massive platform to get people's attention.
No, but and what they don't realize is that
I don't want them to have the platform either, but if we're going to give the left the massive platform they have to give the hatred that they want, why the hell can't the other side do the same?
yeah,
Either give none of them the platform or give all of them a platform. You can't have one side.
that's kind of the thing is the left side is always propped up in the media, but we're not hearing a
They're not propped up in the media, they are the media.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like, but the people on the right, they're kind of just like told to shut the fuck up and know our damn place.
Like, let's not kid ourselves. CNN and Fox News are just as fucking retarded. It's just which side of the coin you want.
Yeah,
But it's the idea that for every Fox News, there are 3 CNNs, if not 5 CNN.
yeah,
So in the same vein that for every one conservative gaming outlet, there's 10,000 leftist gaming outlets. Like that's kind of the differentiation here. So the idea that people don't want the other side to talk is straight up saying we only want our narrative shown. I'm not saying a massive right narrative would be good in the gaming industry, but it would at least give you the other side of the coin so you can compare the two, because right now there is no comparison. You either take what the left spits out or you take nothing.
Well, also it just makes me think about how every time AOC goes on some media outlet, You can see the look in the interviewer's eyes that they realize that, oh my god, this bitch is insane.
And yet, she's still going.
I know. I just say let her keep talking because it just shows how stupid and insane she is. Because that's the thing that I think about sometimes. Like, they say that a wall would never work. Yet these same people that say that, they want to build a railroad across the ocean.
It's like every idea can work if we try hard enough. You put enough money, we can make almost anything.
Yeah, it's like...
We launched a fucking car into space last year. Let's not kid ourselves. We can build a wall or we can build a... It's not that actually that fucking difficult.
Well, it's Elon Musk. He just does it because he smokes some pot.
No, he's bored as fuck, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But it's just like how crazy are you people? You say that that wall would never work, even though there's plenty of data that says that berries actually keep people out. But you also say we could build a railroad across the ocean without taking into account like depth pressure and all that.
Well, it's like you can always just, you can't get them to admit just that they like their idea better and wishes that one would go first.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's...
Because I played Subnautica, and I understand what pressure does. Because you swim down far enough, well, your oxygen doesn't work as good.
Well, I mean, they forget too. Like, didn't Obama wanted to a good shit ton of fence too?
Yeah, but
So but just in general, it's the idea that he already had the intention of building some sort of a wall on the borders.
mm-hmm.
It's just the difference is now that it's coming out of Trump's mouth, they don't like it.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of hypocrites.
Like, it's all it is. Like,
now that's not our idea. We don't like it. And
Trump could literally go into office, tell every Democrat that their salary will be doubled, and they would still be like, no.
mm-hmm.
That's kind of where we're at now.
Yeah,
And it's the idea that if it doesn't come from the platform that you subscribe to, it doesn't count. And it's like, we have had some great ideas throughout history that came from people that we don't like.
pretty much.
Like, I've worked with people, I've gone to school and had teachers that I cannot stand, but the stuff that I have learned from them, the stuff that I have taken from them, will work with me for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
There are politicians out there that I have never liked, but have put laws into motion or put acts into motion that have benefited.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you like the person or not. If the idea is sound, make it so. Stop worrying about the fucking person in front of you. Like, it's the same deal with like any cranky old man that yells at the TV when a certain person comes on. It's like, that's what we are today. We got a bunch of kids that are screaming at their television.
Well,
Screaming at their phone.
every time I see Chuck Schumer on with his kind of condescending grin on his face, he's always got his hands put together like the happy merchant, like, oh my god. Because he's Jewish, and it's like, if you're Jewish and you know about the happy merchant stereotype, you do everything in your power not to look like it. But every time he does, yeah, it's like, he looks like the happy merchant. And it's like, I'm left dumbfounded.
No. It's just... I guess the easiest way to say it is, holy fuck, do people need to chill the fuck out a little bit.
Yeah, I got to the point where I stopped following political stuff. That's the reason why I've been watching Nick Rekieta talk about like the Vic lawsuit, because it's a little bit more entertaining. Because I get to see him.
See, you're not changing anything. You're just changing the content the stress is coming from.
Yeah, but
See, I'm reducing the actual amount of stress that I'm taking in.
yeah, but I really don't care that much about the Vic situation. Well, I do care to an extent, but I'm not getting frustrated watching it because I get to watch Nick Rekieta embarrass this person who's reading like law information off of Wikipedia.
I mean, look, 3 years ago when I really started converting into, I guess you could say, anti-GW, I really did launch myself at everything, and I don't understand why I did that. I think it's just, again, you attach to something and just stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's happening is very much a lot of young people are being exposed to this, and they're not really being given a chance to get any information. They're just being thrown into the wolves.
Yeah, they're being told that they're being indoctrinated that one side.
You have kids that are being taught the SJW and immediately turning the other direction and running the other way.
Yeah.
You're not really having any kid just kind of sit there and be like, all right, I'm going to let this play out and see what happens. It's either you're yelling at one person or you're yelling at the other.
Mm-hmm.
And it all comes down to that we need to fucking stop getting upset at every single headline. I can't avoid some, but considering in the last 12 months the amount of like anger that I don't have anymore because I'm not reacting to every single headline I see, is because anytime I watch or anytime I look at Reddit comments or tweets or whatever else, it's clear to me that people aren't taking a moment to filter anything. They aren't taking a moment to collect their thoughts. They're just immediately snapping at whatever the fuck they're reading.
I know. It's just like when Dick stuff started, well, because Lost Pause and Clubfish TV talked about what's going on, while this dumbass from Anime News Network goes and calls them Nazis.
Well, it's the thing. The second I saw the first story on Vic, my first thought was, okay, that's an allegation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens. Instead, everybody else apparently decided to either go, fuck him, he needs to get put out of it. Like, somebody just, like, either to the level of, let's execute the motherfucker. Or everybody else is like, no, Vic is my guy. You guys are all puck, liar, pieces of shit. And it's just like, do we want to wait a little bit at least first, just so we don't look like idiots when one side is wrong?
Yeah, because we've seen this all happen before. Everyone widely believes someone, and pretty soon the whole story starts falling apart.
I don't even care which side it is. Like, if you're on the side that is Vic needs to go to jail or Vic needs to lose his job and never have a career in the industry ever again, and then he turns out he never did anything, you look like an idiot. And if you're the guy that's like, fuck you, Vic's my guy, you're just a bunch of fucking fake rape creators and all this stuff, and then if he actually did do legit some really shady shit, you look like a fucking dumbass. It's at the end of the day, you don't know everything, so keep your fucking mouth shut until somebody who does know the information comes out with it.
Yep.
Because again, anybody can write a tweet today saying that Fenris fucking touched me the other night. Anybody can do that. Yeah. Until they come out with something that actually proves that, though, it means jack shit.
Mm-hmm. Except they have an uphill battle proving I touched anyone when I don't like being touched.
It's just at the end of the day, if you're going to make an allegation like that, you need to, if you read that there's an allegation, you need to take a moment to let the fucking courts, or at least somebody who can do the fucking job right, actually prove that it happened. Because if we go off by what somebody posts on Twitter or like a press release that somebody makes, anytime, like, it doesn't mean it's fact. Well, anytime we react to something like that, we're only opening ourselves for more scrutiny.
Yeah, because like Monica Rial, she keeps making things worse for herself because she thinks like Funimation or Sony's going to send her lawyers to defend her. They're going to probably look at her like a liability and get rid of her.
Well, they're also a company that's going to, like, they know how much the lawyer fees are going to.
Yeah, they're going to see the legal fees and realize. Because here's the thing about Monica Rial. She's the fourth Bulma. She's expendable at this point.
Again, doesn't even matter. It's just the idea, too, that it's just, if you're going to go this deep, you need to be prepared for the shit that's going to come with it.
Well, I remember, like...
And it goes back to the whole thing, too. If you're going to hide, or if you're going to, like, suppress all these things and then come out with all these allegations so much later into things, it's like, dude, you're opening the extra can of worms now because you waited too long.
Yep. Well, I remember hearing, like... You've heard about the Diversity in Comics versus Mark Waid lawsuit?
Yeah.
Well, apparently Mark Waid, when reality set in that he's going to court for what he did, he fell into a deep depression. Maybe you should think about what you're doing before you actually do this, because it could all backfire on you. You could be going to court.
Well, and here's the thing. if all these things actually happened, then it's going to be painful regardless. But at least if all these are true allegations, and I'm not talking true allegations as in what you believe happened. It's if somebody legit did something terrible to you, because again, this whole comes to that whole thing that Vic's saying, like, hey, I used to hug people all the time because I used to get asked for hugs a lot, so I just figured people wanted hugs. There's a fine line between a hug and then like wrapping your arms and like grabbing somebody's ass or something like that. If we're to assume, for example, that it's just, oh, he's a really huggy guy or whatever, it's like, okay, so he's a little creepy. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a little bit creepy.
But it's not necessarily a crime worth of losing your job. I mean, fuck, if that was the case, be out of fucking film industry. Jesus Christ.
Well, also, when you look at what Markey or whatever her name is, it's like, and she's bragging about how her husband's a higher up at Funimation, like, ugh.
Well, again, it's showing that, oh, I'm in a place of power.
Yeah. She's using her position as a wife of someone in a position of power at the company to screw people over, like, and I bet their prospective wives are like, would you shut the fuck up? Stop talking. Get off Twitter. Stop talking. You're making things worse for us.
It's just at the end of the day, if these things are legit, let the fucking authorities handle that shit. And for God's sakes, can we stop making every single one of these people out to be the same as, like, fucking, what's his name, Harvey Weinstein? It's not the fucking same thing. Stop comparing the two.
And even with Harvey Weinstein, it's just like, these women that are accusing him, they had no problem doing it if it meant good work for them.
Doesn't, you know, honestly, dude, that doesn't even matter. It's the acts that in the end truly do matter. But it's apples for apples. Like, what people are accusing Vic Mignogna of are not even 2% the level of absolutely horrendous shit that Harvey Weinstein did, for example. Same with, like, stuff like Bill Cosby. Like, anybody comparing, like, stuff to what some of these guys did, it's like, dude, like, you need to take a fucking chill pill and, like, just step back.
Well, also, it's the thing of, why didn't you go to the cops when it happened?
There's a case to be made for that at the same time of just like the sheer mental anguish that gets involved in that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just
as I've said before, it's a lose-lose situation. It's going to be painful no matter when you. Yeah. As I've said before, if it's going to be a lose-lose, you might as well just get it over with as soon as you can. As soon as you're ready, just do it. Like, don't hold it in for 10, 15, 20 years. Like, if it happened, you have two choices. You either say something or you don't. And if you're going to say something, you might as well say it as soon as you can say it. Because it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to prove when we get 20 years down.
Yeah, it's another thing. Why do these people wait until it's like 10 or 20 years down the line until some good's going to happen for this person to come out of the woodwork?
A lot of the time, it's one person steps up and says something about them. They're like, oh, I can finally. It's almost like they're waiting for somebody else to do something.
Well, it's like when the Kavanaugh thing was going on, that creepy porn lawyer found this woman, and people started, like, in 1 hour, they dug up everything they could on her and found out that she had graduated like 4 years before Kavanaugh was in high school, and somehow going to the same parts as freshmen in high school. Like, isn't that a little bit creepy?
Even then, it's still completely inconsequential when it's 20 years or 30 years before. It's like, you can't compare the two anymore.
The statute of limitations and all.
It's like, how the fuck are you going to prove stuff like that? Especially in an age now where there's even today, what's the chances of 20-year-old footage like hanging around? What's the chances of like somebody filming something that Vic did at a convention 4 months ago is going to carry over 20 years from now when that person suddenly goes, oh, he did something. Like, that footage is probably going to be corrupted and fucked by that point. It just goes down. Like, if it's really that affecting you, like, you got to just bite the bitter pill and get through it as soon as you can do it. It's going to suck regardless of when you do it. So you might as well just fucking try to nail them early.
Pretty much.
Not to mention that it's like, people have said I've been holding it for 10, 15 years. And I almost kind of want to say, like, look, because they'll always say, it's like, hopefully, now that I've done this, he'll never do it again. It's like, well, he had 15 years to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to denigrate the people that are like this, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to understand that you had an opportunity to, if you're telling the truth and these things happen and you can prove it, you could have put this guy away or at least put a mark on him before all this other stuff goes on.
Well, I remember when Nick Ricay was talking to this, I don't know who he was, but he's some random guy that was going after Nick Ricay one day, and this man had to be on stream with him. And he said that he could get Vic invited to like 4 cons because he helps run like 4 conventions or something like that. And Nick said, okay, then do it. And he says, he hasn't changed. And basically Nick said, changed how? Because that's the thing. They're not really specific with what they want.
Well, that's the thing too, is so much that gets talked about is always so vague. Like they're trying to leave the door for people to put their imagination in the situation so they can make it sound so much worse.
Mm-hmm. And it's like Mr. Maker, like here's where Kevin Hart screwed up. Mr. Maker said, never apologize to these people because it's never going to be enough.
It depends on what we're talking in terms of an apology.
Yeah.
If you apologize once, then you've done what you need to do. It's the people that keep apologizing.
Yeah.
That's the real problem.
I
don't have a problem with anybody apologizing. The difference is when you apologize the first time and they still get mad and you apologize further. It's like, no, you did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. At that point, you just say, did I fucking stutter?
It's just the same thing. Like Vic did his little thing at one. I can't remember what the convention. If you hurt anybody? Like, I'm sorry, I had no fucking clue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you're done. And if people still keep demanding, you need to apologize. No, he fucking doesn't. Because it's like the same thing when people are like, oh, it wasn't sincere. It's like, you aren't the judge of that.
Nope.
I actually got into an argument with somebody where I actually said, hey, I'm sorry, and it's whatever. And they're like, oh, I don't think. And I looked right at them and says, that's not your fucking choice.
What I hate are the people that get offended on behalf of someone that wasn't offended. Like some guy tells a kind of edgy joke about black people that he's not black. And here's the lily white person that's so white, they glow in the dark. Being offended on behalf of Tyrone who finds it funny.
Well, it's at the end of the day that we're so bored that we need to find something else to throw ourselves into.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever get upset at something and say something on, it's because it's personal.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason for me to jump at the idea that, like, as much as it's irritating that Brie Larson is taking shots at, it's just like, dude, I more just shake my head because I'm like, you're just making it harder for yourself.
Yeah, because basically for me, it's like, why did they think that Captain Marvel's going to do that well when her comic book has been rebooted like 9 times this year?
Even then, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody knew what the fuck are. So one of.
Yeah, it's just the character's not that good to begin with.
The MCU is they've always done a great job at making even some of the most mundane stuff actually relatively fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I care about so many more characters in the Marvel comic universe than I ever have. And that's because they wrote good films. I've never had any interest in Captain Marvel, and they could have done something really good with it. Who knows? Maybe when I watch the movie, I'll think they still did something with it. But from the sounds of things, it seems like they fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You could make the most mundane character fun if you put the work.
Yeah.
It's why I've said before this whole idea of like it was all female and things like these. It's like you can do whatever you want. The Ghostbusters all-female movie could have been amazing, but they didn't put the work in. What they did is they pushed a narrative by taking a licensed property that they knew people would go after and try to make a quick buck.
Uh-huh.
And when it failed, they had to make excuses for it. They couldn't just admit that they didn't put the work in.
I know.
That's
'Cause,
the reality.
like, the only one of the Denbusters that's not picking a fight over this, because Jason Reitman said he's giving it back to the fans, is Melissa McCarthy, because she wants to still have a career. Leslie Jones had to go on a tirade.
Well, Leslie Jones really didn't have a career, so.
Yeah. But it's like, Leslie, your movie wasn't that good.
But you notice, like, how many video games alone, for example, are people saying, "Man, I wish they would make this so there were more women available in it, or they would change the." It's like, or you could make a game yourself, or work in a company and create a new IP. But no, what they want to do is to take a pre-established license, because now they don't have to do any groundwork, and just slightly change it to suit what they want.
Yep.
That's the issue that people are taking, especially with all these they're not being rebooted with the care that the original content was made with. They're just making a buck, and people are seeing right through that shit.
Well, it's sort of like Marvel, because they had something good going. Because I loved Marvel Comics. They had some good characters. And then they let this Sana Amina get in a position of power. And she created this Mary Sue named Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. And the only thing remarkable about Kamala Khan is that she's a Muslim, which is why people call her Miss Muslim. She doesn't have an arch nemesis. She doesn't have any struggle. She had a concentration camp and nothing bad happened to her. That's just kind of stuff that makes people upset. And Sana Amina, she goes on that one of those predictable tirades about how we need to get rid of the boys' club of comic books. And that's the kind of thing that annoys me, because it's sort of like, it wasn't a boys' club, but we were the ones that kept the industry afloat.
The video game industry, by choice, is not a male-dominated field. YouTube, not by choice, not by design, is meant to be for a boys' club. In the same vein that Tumblr, by design, was not meant to necessarily be a girls' club. It's just how it swung. Gaming in its beginning became a boys' thing, because at that point, boys were more likely to spend time on their own or just screwing around. Girls were expected to do a lot more extracurricular stuff. They were expected to do a lot more things that they didn't have time to sit down. It was a fabrication of the way that we were a society. Don't criticize the content. Don't criticize the media, stuff like gaming and film and whatever else that created it. Society was the culprit a long time before. We never intended video games or comic books or anime or any of the sort to be a boys' club thing. It's just in the early stages, women just weren't watching. Now, I'm not going to say that there were guys that tried to keep women out, because, I mean, there were dickheads in every fucking sort of fandom. But we never, and even to this day, like, no self-respecting guy is trying to make it so that women can't get involved. The difference is they're taking the one douchebag out of 150 people as being the other 149 people in that. I don't deny that there are some really fucking shitty assholes out there in our community, but that doesn't mean that that's every single person in it.
Exactly.
In the same vein, honestly, that I don't think every feminist is a fucking bitch. It's just the ones that are at the top are seemingly getting the ones with all the... They're the ones with the platform to say everything. If somebody goes up to me and say they're a feminist, I'm not immediately going to be like, oh, bitch, I don't want to... you. I'll listen to whatever you fuck they got to say. But if they say the same bitch points, then I'm just going to call them out for being a bitch.
The bitch who didn't know she was a bitch.
In the same aspect that if I went out and said that I'm a centrist, I would person. It's just if I say something you don't like, then you can call me.
Yeah.
But the problem is the second you say one buzzword that they gets on, they immediately will never listen to another thing that comes out of your fucking mouth. I will still listen to anything Anita says because I'm willing to hear what's going on. I'm willing to hear her points. Because again, I serve to learn more by listening to others. I
know.
don't serve to learn anything by believing the same story over and over again.
Well, it's like these people. I remember a few years ago, I used to have this black guy I used to be friends with online. Well, he posted some video, some black girl in college saying, "You can't be racist against white because racism is power plus privilege." Like, and he's like, "Give her a diploma now." Like, that's just a bunch of buzzwords that mean nothing. These.
Well, you'll notice too that with a lot of these people, if you ask them to expand upon said opinions, they can't really come up.
Yeah, because I'm I'm a white person, but I don't have any power. I don't have any privilege. I'm fucking unemployed.
I find that the best way, because I do talk with people that have very different. I ask them, "Can you explain this?"
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is they shout their buzzwords, and then when you ask them to expand upon it, they don't know anything else because the people who start the buzzwords don't expand upon it either.
Mm-mm.
You know, everything that comes out of my mouth is not a buzzword. It's not it's not literally a verbatim retelling of what somebody else has said. It's something that I have formulated in my head. I've taken any information that I've gotten from various places and I've formulated it into what I think at this point in time. And who knows, 2 days from now, I may have a different side of things because I'm always taking in new information.
Uh-huh.
A lot of these people are refusing to do that, so they're just spouting the same 5 lines over and over and over again.
Well, I just ultimately hate these buzzwords because they use a lot of words to say a lot of nothing. Because that's what I really hate.
And this goes for both sides.
Yeah, it goes for the right too because I've seen how Sean Hannity uses a lot of these words. They're like on the opposite side. And it says a lot of nothing in the end because it's like it's the same thing. It's a bunch of buzzwords that agree with the old conservatives that watch him, but
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like as much as we're annoyed by SJWs calling racist, misogynist, homophobes, transphobes, all this kind of like, it's just as irritating every time I look at Reddit or every time I'm looking at various comment sections in YouTube and 4G and other places, and they're all just saying, "Get woke, go broke, fucking libtards, cucks, all that stuff." Like none of that shit means anything anymore. It's like that same sketch in a comedy where it's just overdone and they just keep making the same joke every episode, like 5 times an episode. By about the 3rd or 4th episode, you're like, dude, I get it. It's a fucking punchline. Okay, can we do something different?
Mm-hmm. That's really bad when they just keep using. It's sort of like Valley Guy with the Meg jokes all the time. It's like it got old really quick. It's like the Simpsons. They understood that the Craig calls from Bart got old fast, so they just got rid of it. Valley Guy, they like to beat the dead horse.
Well, I think that's kind of the joke with Family Guy is that they do beat the horse repeatedly, right? So
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of a debate, like you can't beat the dead horse. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
If you bore the person you're trying to talk to, it's going to be. I don't know, man. Like, I find that it's really, really hard to talk to people now because very few people are putting in the work anymore. I'm not saying that I'm putting in a shit ton of work either. I still do mostly the bare minimum of research for most things. It's just a matter of when I talk to people about that very subject, I'm asking questions rather than just repeating the same 2 things that I know.
Yeah.
So other than that, I've kind of run out of too much else. Anything else you want to add, or
I
I'm just probably going to take
think it's
off?
about time to shut down because we've been talking for a few hours.
Yeah, I think we've been going for what 2? Well, minus technical difficulties, probably more like.
Yeah. About an hour and a half, give or take. Well, it's almost 9:30, and probably about 10 minutes of that was my technical difficulties because OBS wasn't picking up the desktop audio.
Go figure. Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my first stream that I did. I totally didn't realize that if you set a time ahead of time, it doesn't even give you the chance to go into like Hangouts and set up your stream or everything. It's just the second you hit go live, you're in. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't have time to even think about this shit.
I know.
Learn a lesson every time.
I know. I've had to learn a few things on my own. I got started doing this because I did a stream with Brockus when they used to talk. He was this guy from the Snatchcast. Because first stream I ever did was talking about Fate, and he was complaining about how Mordred is a girl, and I was like, I just told him on Twitter, because Japan. That's all you need to know. Because the Japanese are going to do that.
If it exists, Japan wants to loot it.
Mm-hmm. They have, like, well, not just Japan. China does this too. There's like 3 games or 3 series in Asia that are about battleships that are waifus. There's one.
Or guns.
Yeah, Girls Fight Line and Uppot are about gun waifus. Then you got.
I'm just waiting for Fruit Girls.
Eventually, it's going to be a thing. There's going to be a series about fruit waifus.
I can't wait. The banana's totally going to be a trap.
Because we had the jet waifus, and I think there's like the plane foos and strike witches, and then Girly Air Force is about jet waifus.
Strike Witches is not that. It's literally just they want an excuse to have a show about girls never having to wear pants.
Pretty much.
I love how they still refuse to claim that they're making them wear. No, it's part of their suit. Like, no, it's not. They're just not wearing bottoms. Come on. Stop trying to lie.
You want to look at those panties.
It's like, don't hide the fact. It's like DOA when they're like, okay, stop hiding behind it. Just admit the fact that, like, Hey Joe did it perfectly. They admitted that they were nothing but TNA with a bunch of girls in swimsuits swinging their ass everywhere, and they fucking rivaled in it.
Oh, that reminds me back, like, in 2016, some feminists went on a tirade saying that the show is for pedophiles because, like, I think it's like the silver-haired girl, she's flat-chested, and somehow that makes her underage.
It's like, I don't know, I'm dating a girl who's 30 years old, and she's... So what's your fucking point?
Yeah. And there's just a never-ending thing with these people that they're trying to take over anime. It's like, you do realize how racist the Japanese are, right?
Well, it's... At the end of the day, if you want to get into anime, but it's not your prerogative to go in and make every single bit of anime to what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I would love every anime to be Infinite Stratos, but it would be boring as fuck if every anime was Infinite Stratos.
I know, I just don't like this whole, it needs to cater to my specific tastes, but your tastes are horrible.
It's like, yeah, there are anime that cater to your specific tastes. I'm having a hard time finding anime that doesn't cater to anything now, like, for fuck's sakes.
I know, but...
We have an anime that literally is about a giant pedophile to other little girls. It's like there's something for every fucking buddy now.
Could you repeat that because you broke up a little bit?
Oh, there's an anime that's literally like an older woman.
Oh yeah.
Being interested in young girls. Like there's Uzumaid, or hell, there's the one going on right now that's
Wataten.
Wataten, yeah. Although it's not nearly as creepy as Uzumaid is, but it's still the idea that it's an older girl that's really got a bit of a Woody there for some tiny girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's Japan. Japan is like the equivalent of Saints Row, where it's just Saints Row by the end was just like, okay, no idea is a bad idea. Just put it out there and we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in Japan will take any idea you throw at them and be like, fuck it, I'll try.
The Japanese will look at something and say, can I fuck it? And they
Like
find
I said, just wait for it.
I know, it's just like, there's Blue Steel, which is the original waifu ship thing. And it's like, someone looked at Battleship Takao and was like, can I fuck it?
Look, I'm just really waiting for my guitar waifu anime because
Now that'd be a cool idea. Just
Yeah,
Oh.
just the musical instruments get turned to girls. So you got Yamaha, you got Fender, you got fucking trying to think of a drum company. Not even.
uh,
You get the point.
yeah. Where a guitar Toki from Aldius plays is.
See, then there's just you here who's just like, okay, I want a hair saw with thighs. Just humanoid saw with thighs.
I like
And you'll
more.
just be sitting there being like, by God, they've done it.
I can't help it. So a stick. And she's like the Toki from that same band. She shreds this guitar. She wears a really pink dress. Is like this is heavy metal, but she looks like the most girly girl ever.
And then the grand finale, the ultimate harem anime. One guy, 10 rays from High School of the Dead.
No!
And with that, I think that's where I'm going to struggle to let that float into your head for a little while.
Yeah, that's a good way to end the stream.
Well, thanks for having me back on, man. Hope to be doing more of these.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing like twice a week.
Well, I know I'm going to be doing one stream every Saturday morning. That much is for sure. And then
Yeah.
if things start catching on, or I got free time, I'll probably end up doing at least one weeknight stream. But I haven't figured out what I
Yeah.
want to do with that yet.
Yeah, because usually I'm still trying to sleep when you start streaming in the morning. So
I'm not even a full month into this apartment here, so I'm still trying to get myself situated. So once I
Yeah.
kind of figure that shit out, who knows what happens.
yeah, I need to get more games installed on my new desktop. But it's nice to have a fancy desktop I could use to stand my laptop on the wobbly little table.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, all right, man. It's nice talking to you again, and to
Yep.
the, I guess, one person that was watching most of that.
Yep.
So, you guys have all good night.
Good night, everybody.